Now if we want to add a node after certain node, so let's say we want to add a node of value 6 after a node of value 3. Alright, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna make a clone of our head pointer right now, and we're gonna use it to iterate until we reach to the value of 3, so we can add a new node after it. So how can we do this? Like after cloning the head pointer, we're gonna start by moving to accessing the next property, so we can check the next node, which is luckily our node of value 3, and that's really great. Now we want to insert a node after this node. So how can we do this? As it's double linked list, that means we have a front which is the next element, and backward which is the backward element. Let's start by making a new node of value 6, and we're gonna make a clone pointer which is pointing to the next node, and I will explain that in a second. Alright, so now after making this new node and making a pointer to the next node, which is 9, we have now two pointers, one which is at the value of 3, which we are searching for, so we can add after it, and we have a next pointer after this value of 3. So we'll need to add this 6 in between 9 and 3. So how can we do this? Alright, so conceptually looking just by it, we will need somehow to add the previous of 9, which is this purple arrow, backward to 6, and we want this 6 to be pointing in forward to 9. So we will have a purple arrow going backward, and we should have another arrow going forward to 9, from 6 to 9. And we also want to have 6 pointing backward to 3, and we should have a forward arrow pointing from 3 to 6. So that's exactly what we're gonna do, but we will need to make it in certain order. So how can we do this? First, we're using our second pointer here. We're gonna use the previous property, so we can change this purple to point to this 6 node. And since we have already a pointer to this node of 9, and we already have a new node of value 6, we're just gonna change the next pointer to the value of 9. And once we do this, we have fixed half of our insertion. Now we need somehow to do the remaining side. So now we need this 3 to point at this 6, and this 6 to point at this 3 as backward. So now how can we do this? We already have a pointer at this 3, so we can have access to the yellow arrow here using next property. So we can change this yellow arrow to point at this 6 by changing the next pointer to point at this 6, and that's exactly what we're gonna do. And now we already have this node, and we can modify it as we want. And since we already have the pointer to this node 3, we can just change the backward pointer of this 6 to point at the pointer of head pointer, which is a value of 3. And this is exactly how can we insert a node after certain value, which in our example is 3. And if you were searching for, or if you're adding an element after a value, let's say 15, and 15 doesn't exist in this double linked list, so basically you just implement whatever you have in your implementation. You can just return false, you can return -1, you can return whatever is specific in that implementation. And this is how we can insert a node after certain value.